have helped me while preparing for my events. So the first thing that I always like to do is study my topic. So whenever you get your event or decide what event you want to do, the first place that you should go is the FBLA website. And once you go there, you can find the description of your event, how much time you have to present, the topic, the prompt, and just a bunch of different tips that'll help you prepare for it. As well as on that website, you can find the rubric sheet. So you'll be able to see what the judges are looking for when you go to present. And you can kind of try to play to those aspects of the rubric so that you can do well on your presentation. And the second tip that I would have is just ask questions and talk to as many people as you can have experience in your event or in FBLA in general. So this can be FBLA alumni, older peers that have already been through FBLA, have been in your event, or have just been in public speaking in general. Another thing that you can do is we have an advisory board at my school. So they are people that have judged before at FBLA events. So they have a lot of good tips on how to present well and prepare your presentation to do well at districts. And then probably the biggest part of it is just to practice. Practice makes perfect, obviously. You'll hear it 1,000 times, but just go through it until you feel confident. Because if you go in there just kind of second guessing yourself, and you're not 100% confident in yourself and in your presentation, then obviously you won't do super well. So just practice until you think that you could just do that presentation in front of anybody. And then the last thing would be to prepare your materials. So if you have a presentation that you'll be displaying in front of the judges, try to reach out ahead of time to the people that are running your event, because your event may not always have Wi-Fi. We ran into that issue a couple of times in the past. So it's always a good idea to try and download your materials beforehand at home or at school before you get to the event, because if they end up not having Wi-Fi, then it's easier just to pull it up or have some sort of backup plan instead of just trying to fumble around and then get those points docked off in your presentation. Another thing that you can do is just print off your PowerPoint and hand that to the judges as soon as you get there, and that'll just kind of make the process way easier. Also, the state officer team has been posting different event tips on our social media page. So if you want any more tips, then you can refer to Colorado FBLA. You'll be able to find a bunch of other tips for specific events throughout the week as we approach districts. So does anybody have any questions that the PowerPoint didn't address or that they want answered specifically for their district? Because I think we have all of the district officers here if anybody has specific questions for their district.
Are there practice scenarios for some of the like for international business or marketing, or some of those where they may need to deal with the scenario? Are there practice ones available out there?
Things that like my classmates or older peers have done is they've always referred it to like previous years kind of guidelines that I was talking about, or you can go to past year winners and try to find those scenarios as well. And then you can use those if they haven't competed in it before, because if they've competed in it before, then it kind of just defeats the purpose. But if they haven't done it and this is their first time, then you can go to those older scenarios and use those to prepare.
Another thing too is like when I was looking at like how to do my project, because nobody's ever done it before, if you just search on YouTube like this project ideas or this project FBLA, it comes up with like different winners and like different districts and different areas that do FBLA that have done the competition, and it will show them like how they competed and how it worked.
So one question that was asked in the chat is, how are the districts handling masks? And in some locations, this is specific to your district. And I know at my location, it's not required to wear it on stage, but it's advised to wear your mask. So I would be sure to reach out to your district advisor or your officer and find out what exactly your mask requirements are for your district.
How did the when I downloaded the tickets for my district for my students, I got like one ticket per student, but they each have 2 tests. Is that they'd only need the one ticket for both tests? Is that accurate? I'm seeing this head nod thing happening.
That is accurate. So once they log in, there will be 2 links, and they will click on to begin test for whichever test they are testing for that day. And then they will use the same login for their second test. The one thing that we have come in into a situation where sometimes the ticket codes are changing. So if your kid logs in to take one test like today and got in fine, but then they log in on Wednesday, it won't let them in. You just have to go and reprint the tickets because it changed up their password or something like that.
So another question I was asked in the chat is how can they study for a test if there are no practice tests? So a good way to do this is by going to like the FBLA website and finding the event guidelines, and that will give you specific I can't think of the word, specific ideas and topics that are going to be within that event. And so then you can find information and resources on those topics online or through your school or through your chapter. And that's a great way to study because you know what's going to be on the test if you look at what the topics are.
Another way to study for tests that I personally like is using Quizlets, and I think that is very beneficial, and there's a lot of them for almost any test. And then I know, like McKenna was saying, there are some competencies on the National FBLA website that may lead you, depending on the test, to certain websites that will lead you to what will specifically be on the test.
I'm a new chapter, so I'm the one with all the questions. But going to these events, we're brand new and nobody's got like the official whatever clothes to wear. Is it imperative that they wear navy blue? Is it okay if they wear just their business and look wonderful? How is that looked at, especially if they wind up being able to do like a presentation?
I would say it's easier for the guys than the girls. Obviously, the guys probably have a little bit less to worry about, but the color doesn't really matter as long as they just look sharp and they look put together. Then as long as I think that's probably good. If you're presenting, then it's always recommended to have a suit jacket, but obviously we know that's not a possibility for everybody. So if you don't, then as long as you look put together and presentable, then with tie, slacks, dress shoes, jeans, button up, I think that's good.
With the girls, I feel like if you are doing a group event, it looks better when the girls are matching. It just looks like a team and just a whole overall. But it just depends as well with the event because I'm in job interview and my advisor would like me to wear a just like a jacket over what I wear just so it looks more professional. But just as with what Dade said, just look professional and make sure you follow the guidelines in that national FBLA national dress code.
And I think if you go to the National FBLA website, if you go to Dress for Success, I think that is where you can find most of the recommendations for it. I think that's what it's called. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but
And the link to the FBLA dress code flyer was just dropped into the chat. So if you wanted to go look at that, that is up in the chat.
Another question I'm seeing in the chat now is, what are some of the things that you, the state officers, have learned over the years in your specific competitions? So I normally participate in either impromptu speaking or last year I did introduction to public speaking. And with both of those, one of the most important things is to make sure to really enunciate your words as well as practice as much as possible. Also get many people's opinions on that so that you can really use those opinions and criticisms and just become a better competitor in general.
Along with Anushka, I normally do prepared public speaking events. So in the past, I've done intro to public speaking, and this year I'll just be doing regular public speaking. And one of the things that she was saying was practice a lot. And so some things that help me with this is practice in front of a mirror where you have to see yourself and have to actually see what you are doing so you know what you look like, because sometimes you might be making funny faces when you say certain things or doing weird hand gestures that maybe don't go along with your speech. And so that's a great way to get to see yourself. And if you are having trouble like memorizing your speech word for word, a great way that I at least start to do that is by memorizing like bullet points rather than trying to go word for word right away. Sometimes memorizing bullet points first helps you remember what's coming next and what's in between, and then that helps you to build off and get memorized better.
I feel like the biggest thing I've learned in my years of competing is like moderation is key. I've done both test events as well as reports, and I think, 15 to 20 minutes a day goes a long ways and is a lot more beneficial than trying to do it all like a week ahead of time. And I think especially for like reports, it's easier to balance things out throughout the year and then to properly like report everything in your prejudged.
And like with presentations, something I've learned because I've done the business plan and this year I'm probably going to do the financial business plan, is like you do want to kind of what Hunter said is you do want to practice that because you don't want to read off of your presentation fully. Like they want to see that you have like this business plan prepared. But I also learned that like even though you have your presentation for them to see, print out your presentation. I've noticed like when I was being judged, the judges go back and forth when they're grading and judging you. A presentation is really hard for them to go back and forth on, especially when you're moving on to the next thing, because they're still going to listen to you, but they are going to double check some things that they have. Like even questions were asked from like maybe like my slides 5 and 6, even though I had 30 slides. They do go back and check it. So always give them a paper copy, even though you have the presentation in front of them.
I also did the prepared public speaking events. I think like a few other state officers. I did emerging business issues and introduction to public speaking, and then also public speaking. And I think one of the key takeaways that I learned from when I presented there was that like less is more almost, like in a sense that you don't want to overdo the content to the point that it messes up your delivery. So I really think um, try to be as like as I honestly think like slower, the more clarity you have, the more emphasis you give on your words, even if that means like sort of getting rid of some of your content and information. That really helped me the most when I was preparing my speeches. So I guess sometimes just don't feel the need to like pack your speech with as much as info as possible. Pick like a few points that you think will really hit home and then focus on your delivery the most.
And going off of that, one thing I've learned is in the question portion, after you give your presentation, and then the judges have around 5 minutes to ask you any questions about your presentation. So what I've always done is compete with a partner. And so one tip that I've learned that has helped me a lot in the past is answering the questions and building off of my partner. So if she started the question and then she makes a really good point, I'd back her up and I'd finish, or she'd do the same thing with me. But I've learned that the judges appreciate that, and it brings more than just one point of view to answering the question.
So if there aren't any more questions, or if the state officers don't have any more tips to give, then I'll pass it on to Portia to do the CTSO month and FBLA week presentation.
Thank you, Dade. So now I will be sharing my screen so that then we can move into CTSO month. So if you all didn't know, February is CTSO month, or it's also referred to as CTE month. So there are 8 CTSOs currently authorized. There is FBLA PBL, TSA DECA, FFA Skills USA, Business Professionals of America, FCCLA, and HOSA. So for this year, National FBLA PBL Week is on February 13th through 19th, 2022, and it is always held on the second full week of February. So the national daily themes that this year's national officer team came up with is on February 13th is National Theme Day. And the activity for this day is Success Starts Here theme multimedia contest. And the deadline for this is February 1st. And I will be dropping the link into the chat. So then if you'd like to go back and look at more detail for these contests and theme days, you will be able to find that on the National FBLA website. And then for February 14th, the day is Advisor Appreciation Day. And here you can just buy your advisor flowers or just a gift to make them feel appreciated. On February 15th, it is a National President's Forum and Share Your Story Day. So for this day, they just want you to share your story and get it out there. And you can do this in a video or in a picture and have a caption with it and just share it on social media sites and on all those pages. So for February 16th, it is Chapter Networking Day. And the activities for this day, they have the collegiate panel, and you can find the registration and link to this on the national website. And then they also have the Chapter Business Card Challenge, and the deadline for this is February 1st. And for more details about this, you can also go to the national website. There are a lot of restrictions and guidelines for this, so I'd be sure to check those out if you're interested. on February 17th, it is Business Development Day. And this activity, they have the FBLA PBL National Financials Panel. And the link and registration for this is also on the national website. So February 18th is National FBLA Spirit Day. And at this night, we have the Regional Networking Night. And here's where each region will meet up with everybody in the region, and it's fun, and it's hosted by our Mountain Plains Regional Vice President, which is going to be a good time, and I highly encourage many of you to join. And then February 19th is Community Service Day. And the activity for this is to participate in the March of Dimes personal care kit. And more information for this can be found on the national website, where you can find out all the details for what you have to do for the personal care kit. So along with all these activities, the National FBLA is giving out prizes for the contest and activities they are hosting. So for the business card contest, the prizes are ribbons for 15 chapters at the National Leadership Conference, 5 groups of business cards for chapters, and 1 pizza party for a chapter. For the multimedia contest, the prizes for this one is 4 pairs of AirPods for the 4 different individual winners, and then a chapter gets a plaque for the winner of the chapter multimedia contest. And in addition to these, they are giving out 4 $50 Amex gift cards for the runner-ups. And then for the members who attend the National President's Forum, they have a AirPods for a participant who they will draw at random and give that to. And then for the scavenger hunt winner, they have a $75 Amex gift card. So this month, Colorado FBLA and what they call CACTI is hosting a CTE in Action, which is a social media challenge. So the descriptions for this social media challenge is they encourage individuals or chapters to create a social media post showing CTE in action. Think about how CTE impacts you in the classroom, in the school, in the community, and or in the workplace. Find video or images showing a specific activity where CTE has impacted you in a positive way. The post can either be videos or images during the month of February. For the video, it has to be 30 to 60 seconds long, or you can do 5 to 8 pictures. And you want to begin your caption with CTE works for Colorado, then include a description of the activity. And don't forget to use the following hashtags: hashtag CoLEG, hashtag CTE works for Colorado, hashtag Career Tech Ed, and hashtag CTE month. So remember to also tag your chapters and our state organization. And in addition to this, all people and organizations posting in CTE action will be entered into a drawing for one of the 4 $25 Amazon gift cards and a $100 Visa gift card grand prize, provided by CACTI. So for Colorado FBLA, we are hosting a NLC pin design contest, and members can help design the trading pin for the National Leadership Conference in Chicago, Illinois. So what you want to design is something that represents Colorado and or the National Leadership Conference location and or the national theme, which is Success Starts Here. And the deadline for this contest is March 1st, and we will be providing more information about this at a later time. So stay tuned with our on our social media websites and our Colorado FBLA website. But that is it for this presentation. So do any of you guys have any questions? If you don't have any, I will be handing it over to Dade.
So before we wrap up our meeting, we're going to do a quick FBLA trivia to prepare for the upcoming FBLA week. So the first question is, who is the oh, sorry, I'm gonna preface this with that. If you have your answer, just put it in the chat and we'll tally them up and we'll announce the winner at the end. So the first question is, who is the national FBLA president?
So Ali got that one, and it is A, Jaya Singh.
Yep, and A is correct. Next question, in what month is the state leadership conference usually held? And Olivia got that one. It is C, and it is in April. So you can look forward to that after the district leadership conference. Next question, at the end of what month does the national leadership conference usually start? Anushka got that one, and you are correct, it is B, June. What state became FBLA's first state chapter? Sorry, Laura, even though you were the first one to answer, it is B, Iowa. Where is the FBLA PBL National Center located? And Allie's got this one right. It is D. And you are right, Laura. The first high school one was in Tennessee, but it's kind of a trick question. What national region is Colorado FBLA a part of? And Anushka's right. It is B, the Mountain Plains. Who is the Mountain Plains Region Vice President? And Anushka's got it right again. It is A. I'm not going to try to pronounce her name. What are the 3 words on the FBLA emblem? And McKenna's got that one right. Service, education, and progress. I think we're getting close to the end here, but what was the first experimental FBLA chapter chartered? Sorry, Laura, but Priscilla barely beat you to it again. It is 1942. What organization does FBLA team with for their official community service partner? Laura, you did get that one right. That one is March of Dimes, D. I think that is our last question. Yep. So I think we ended up having a multiple way tie for 2 questions, right? But But on that note, I'll pass it back to Portia to wrap up the end of our meeting.
So good job to Anushka and Laura. You guys tied. So that was good. And so congratulations on that tie. And as our membership meeting comes to a close, we hope you all have gained some resourceful information that you can use in your own competitive events. So keep a close eye on our social media for more about the district leadership conferences, CTE months, and our social media challenges, and FBLA PBL week. So be sure to check out our Membo Mondays and our website at www.coloradofbla.org for any upcoming information about Colorado FBLA. And feel free to reach out to any of us state officers via email if you have any questions or would like us to come for a chapter visit. I hope to all see you here again next month. The January membership meeting is now adjourned. Our state officers wish you the best of luck at your district conference. Thank you all for coming.